The Orion Prime space station hung in orbit like a giant silver ring, slowly rotating near a fading blue star. Inside its cold metal walls, 1,000 different species worked together under the banner of the Galactic Council. Their mission was to maintain peace, order, and law across the galaxy. Most believed the Council worked as it should. Alex Voss wasn't so sure. At 32, Alex had seen enough to know that even the most perfect systems could hide something rotten beneath the surface. He was a data forensics specialist, a quiet, methodical job. He spent most days sorting through law logs, looking for errors, delays, or breaches in the voting system. Nothing exciting, nothing dangerous, just numbers and patterns. Today, something didn't feel right. He sat alone at his station in the legal archive sector, sipping synthetic coffee while scrolling through the legislative log queue. A new law from Earth had just been processed. He checked the time. Less than 1 second, he muttered. No discussion, no delegate input. He tapped the screen and brought up the last 100 Earth-originated laws. Every single one had been approved instantly. Not fast, instantly. No deliberation. No votes logged. Just greenlit by default. That wasn't how the Council worked. Every law was meant to go through 3 stages: proposal, debate, then multi-species vote. Even minor traffic regulations from backwater planets took at least a few hours to pass through review. Alex leaned closer, fingers flying across his console. He dug deeper. Each Earth proposal carried a strange marker code in the metadata. Directive 0, relay, cleared. He paused. Relay, he whispered. That wasn't standard protocol. He opened the flag's source and was met with a security barrier. Level 9 clearance required. Alex had level 6. That shouldn't have even shown up for him. Someone had slipped up, or the system didn't expect anyone to look this closely. A light overhead flickered. He looked up. Probably nothing. Still, his hand moved to save a copy of the metadata to his private archive. A soft chime echoed in his earpiece. Council security notice. Unauthorized access detected. Please remain at your workstation. Alex froze. He hadn't done anything illegal. Just opened a log. Still, the warning made his skin crawl. He quickly closed the files and stood up, trying to appear calm. As he walked toward the exit, he noticed something odd in the hallway outside: 2 humanoid figures in council uniforms, standing too still, watching. He passed them with a polite nod. They didn't move. Once inside the elevator, he let out a slow breath. He pulled out a small handheld and typed a single message to himself. Earth's laws bypass debate. Directive 0. Relay? Need to confirm. Moon systems. As the elevator doors opened, he saw his mentor waiting, Director Marintal. The older woman usually smiled. Not today. You should stop digging, Alex, she said calmly. His mouth went dry. You saw it too? She nodded. We all do. We just know when to look away. Alex didn't respond. He simply turned and walked past her, thoughts racing. If others knew, why weren't they doing anything? Why were Earth's laws pushed through without challenge? And what was this relay hidden in the logs? He didn't have answers yet, but he knew where he had to look. The relay could mean only one place: the moon, Earth's old communications base. If something was manipulating Council systems, it would have to start from there. The sky outside Orion Prime was always the same, deep black, scattered with distant stars, and bathed in the cold blue light of the dying star nearby. But inside the Council's silent corridors, Alex Voss walked quickly, head down, every step filled with caution. The warning from Director Marin still echoed in his mind. You should stop digging. But Alex had never been the type to let a question go unanswered. And this time, the question was too big to ignore. Why were Earth's laws being approved without debate? Why was there a hidden directive in the system logs, and what was this relay it mentioned? Back in his private quarters, he sealed the door and activated the signal jammer he kept for emergencies. His fingers flew across the terminal as he accessed his personal copy of the Council's legislative approval log. There it was again, Directive 0, relay. Cleared, hidden deep in the approval code for every Earth law passed in the last 70 years. He opened a side panel on the wall, revealing a private data chip. This one wasn't connected to the Council's network. It was old school, offline, local, untraceable. He downloaded the logs onto the chip and disconnected. The screen flashed once, data export complete. Alex leaned back in his chair, staring at the ceiling. The relay had to mean the old lunar communication grid, Earth's ancient network of satellites and deep signal relays on the moon, once used to connect Earth to its outer colonies before faster-than-light communication had replaced it. The grid was abandoned decades ago, declared obsolete. But if it still operated secretly, it could be broadcasting some kind of influence, nudging decisions, controlling votes, rewriting outcomes. Subtly, quietly, without anyone noticing. Except now someone had. Alex packed lightly. A multi-scanner, a short-range cloaking belt, and 2 encrypted comms beacons. He left his council badge behind. From now on, he wasn't moving as a council officer. He was moving as a shadow. He booked a transport shuttle through an old freighter registration. The pilot didn't ask questions. Credits were credits. Destination, the pilot asked, chewing on a protein stick. Earth's moon, Alex replied. Not much left there. You touristin' or treasure huntin'? Neither, Alex said. Just some old history to dig up. The journey took 6 hours through light jump corridors. The closer they got to Earth, the more Alex's nerves started to rise. Earth itself had changed. It wasn't the homeworld anymore, not really. The seat of power had long moved to the stars, and Earth had become a symbol more than a center. But the moon, that was different. Forgotten places often held dangerous secrets. The freighter dropped him at a maintenance port near the Sea of Tranquility. Most of the structures had been swallowed by dust and time. Alex moved quietly across the surface, using a map built from outdated satellite data. After 2 hours, he found it, Relay Node 9. A gray dome half buried in regolith, with an old Earth Federation seal barely visible on its cracked surface. The hatch creaked as it opened. Inside, darkness swallowed him. He switched on his light. Dust floated in the stale air. Old consoles lined the walls, most dead, a few flickering with faint life. One still hummed, a low, continuous tone that never stopped. The scanner picked up a signal, steady, pulsing, embedded with data packets moving in patterns that didn't match standard communication protocols. Alex plugged in a decryptor. The results made his heart pound. Directive 0 activated. Signal integrity, 98.2%. Targets, all council delegates within core network range. Effect, suggestive influence, legal bias enforcement. He stared at the screen. This was it. The lunar relay grid had never shut down. It had evolved. Someone, perhaps Earth's old leadership, had reprogrammed it to influence the minds of Galactic Council members. Not full mind control, but enough to shift decisions. Enough to approve laws without resistance. Alex's hands trembled. This wasn't just a political hack. It was psychological warfare. Quiet, invisible, and ongoing for decades. Suddenly, the screen flashed red. Unauthorized access detected. Security response engaged. He pulled the data chip from the console just as the door slammed shut behind him. The old systems were still armed. Emergency lighting flickered on. Motion sensors activated. A hidden turret slid from the wall. Damn it, Alex muttered, diving behind a broken server rack. A laser blast scorched the wall above him. He reached for his cloaking belt and activated it. His body shimmered and vanished. The turret scanned the room but didn't fire again. Silent, invisible, Alex slipped past the security grid and made it back to the airlock. The turret never saw him leave. Once outside, he didn't head back to the landing site. That would be too easy to track. He called the freighter from a secondary beacon and requested pickup from a backup site 6 kilometers away. As he trudged across the gray surface, one thought burned in his mind. Earth had turned the moon into a weapon, and no one had stopped them. The shuttle hissed as it lifted from the moon's surface, leaving a trail of disturbed dust behind. Alex Voss sat silently in the back, helmet resting on his lap, hands tied around the data chip he'd pulled from Relay Node 9. His heart still raced from the near-death encounter with the automated turret. He had never been so close to being erased by something so old and still so dangerous. The shuttle pilot glanced back but didn't ask questions. That was why Alex had paid in anonymous credits. The less said, the better. Back aboard Orion Prime, Alex kept his head low. He bypassed security checkpoints using an old clearance trick, routing his ID through a maintenance worker's schedule. The chip, now hidden in the lining of his jacket, was all that mattered. It held evidence the Council could never ignore. Proof that Earth had manipulated minds across the galaxy. Not with speeches or bribes, but with quiet signals from a forgotten lunar system. His apartment was dark when he entered. Just how he'd left it. He locked the door, pulled down the blackout shades, and activated his private terminal. Carefully, he slid the chip into the reader. The terminal buzzed, then a screen loaded. It displayed streams of data logs from the relay system. Each log matched a council law passed on Earth's behalf, thousands of them. The system had logged its own interference, proudly recording influence values. High-ranking delegates showed as highly susceptible. Some votes had been completely automated. Alex stared, stunned. They had never stood a chance. No delegate had made a free choice when it came to Earth's loss. They were being pushed, gently, invisibly, by the lunar relay grid. Earth wasn't just guiding policy. It was reshaping the galaxy's future from the shadows. Suddenly, a message popped up on his screen. You found it. That was a mistake. No sender. No trace. Alex jumped to his feet. Someone was watching his system. He yanked the chip free and shut everything down. Then came the knock. 3 slow taps on the door. He froze. Seconds passed. Another knock. Alex moved silently to the side, away from the door's view panel. He activated a hidden camera and viewed the hallway feed. 2 men in black council uniforms stood at the door. No name tags. No rank. One of them held a scanner. They weren't here to talk. He grabbed his emergency pack, already prepared. In less than a minute, he was out the back service hatch, moving through a maze of maintenance corridors below the living sectors. The halls were dark, echoing with the hum of machinery and the distant hiss of coolant lines. He knew only one place to go. An old friend, Zurin Callow, a former council technician who had retired years ago after a major scandal involving tampered data. Zurin lived in the shadows now, but he owed Alex a favor. After 2 hours of ducking sensors and avoiding patrols, Alex reached the underground quarters Zurin had claimed as his own. He knocked twice, then once, then 3 times. The door opened. Zurin squinted at him, rubbing sleep from his eyes. Voss? You look like a ghost. I need your help, Alex said. Now. Inside, Alex laid out the data and explained everything: Earth's influence, the relay system, the automation of council decisions. Zurin looked over the files slowly, silently, his face turning pale. This is bad, he said at last. Like, core collapse bad. I need to show this to someone, Alex said. Someone in the council who can't be influenced. There's no such person anymore, Zurin said grimly. Everyone is under the signal's reach. Then we take it to the public. Zurin looked at him like he was mad. You want to expose this? You'll start a civil war across the stars. Alex stood firm. Better chaos in the light than peace built on lies. Zurin was quiet for a long time. Finally, he nodded. There's a way. A secure public broadcast node that still runs on analog relay. No auto-filtering. But it's inside the restricted core, deep inside the council's central archive. Then that's where I'm going, Alex said. As they prepared to leave, Zurin handed him a small device. EMP scrambler. In case they find you again. Alex took it, pocketed the chip, and headed for the exit. He was no longer just an auditor. He was a threat to the biggest lie in the galaxy. And they knew it. Alex Voss stood in the shadows of Orion Prime's lower levels, the stolen data chip pressed close to his chest. His eyes scanned every corridor, every camera, every face. Trust had become a luxury he couldn't afford. Beside him, Zurin Callow moved quickly but carefully, his hands buried in a pack filled with old tools and scramblers. The 2 men had spent the last 12 hours planning the most dangerous step of their mission, breaking into the Council Archive's central node. It was the only system that couldn't be overridden, filtered, or silenced. A relic of a time when the truth still mattered. Are you sure about this? Zurin asked as they reached a side corridor that led into the archive's secure zone. Alex didn't answer right away. His mind was on what came next, on what would happen once the truth was released. Protests? Panic? Maybe worse. But he knew he couldn't back down. Earth's grip had to be broken. I'm sure, Alex finally said. Zurin nodded and slid a pulse card into a hidden panel. The door hissed open. They entered. The archive was silent. Long corridors stretched into the distance, lined with glowing memory cores and climate-controlled servers. The walls seemed to breathe with the hum of ancient power. It was a temple to knowledge and to secrets. They moved toward the secure broadcast node. It was buried behind 3 layers of clearance. Zurin bypassed 2 firewalls, and Alex used an old council badge, still active, to open the final gate. The node glowed softly in the center of the room. A podium surrounded by interface panels. From here, any message could be sent, raw, unfiltered, unblocked, across the galaxy. Alex inserted the chip. Just as the screen lit up, the door behind them slammed shut. I was wondering how long it would take you to come here, a deep voice echoed. They turned. Chancellor Drekthalo stepped forward, flanked by 2 council enforcers. He wore the dark robes of his office, every step calm and precise. His reptilian eyes locked onto Alex with cold amusement. You've been busy, Voss, Drek said, his voice smooth like oil. I admire your determination. Rare these days. Alex took a step back, placing his body between the Chancellor and the podium. You know what's on this chip? I do, Drek replied. And so do you. That's the problem. Alex didn't move. You let Earth hijack the Council. You've known this for years. Drek's smile never wavered. Let? No, Mr. Voss. I protected order. Earth gave us peace. Structure. Growth. The galaxy is united because of that influence. Would you really risk unraveling everything we've built? You didn't build it. You brainwashed it. Drek raised a hand. The guards didn't move, but their weapons powered up. I'm offering you a choice, the Chancellor said softly. Walk away. Forget what you found. I'll give you a position in my inner circle. Wealth. Safety. Respect. Alex stared at him. You're offering me silence, he said. I'm offering you stability, Drek replied. Because if you push that message out to the galaxy, you won't be saving it. You'll be tearing it apart. Alex looked to Zarin, who shook his head slightly. But the fear in his eyes was clear. Alex turned back to Drek. I'd rather live in a broken truth than a perfect lie, he said. Without waiting, he slammed his palm on the podium panel. The node came alive. A blinding flash of blue light filled the room as the signal burst from the archive and spread across the galaxy. Drek's comm vanished. Shut it down. His guards lunged forward. Zarin threw the EMP scrambler. The device exploded in a pulse of energy, frying the weapons and knocking out lights. Move, Alex shouted. They ran through the chaos, alarms blaring behind them. Smoke filled the corridor as backup systems tried to reboot. Alex didn't look back. He didn't have to. The message was already gone. The galaxy never slept, but now it had truly awakened. Across hundreds of planets, moons, and orbital cities, a single message flashed through the skies, on comm channels, in meeting halls, and even on private terminals. For over 70 years, Earth has influenced Galactic Council decisions through hidden subliminal signals. These signals originate from the lunar relay grid. The Council has not voted freely. Your leaders have not acted by choice. This is not conspiracy. This is fact. Attached to the system logs, signal blueprints, and neural influence patterns. We all deserve to choose. Alex Voss, Council Forensics Specialist. It took just 11 seconds to spread, and everything broke. Alex and Zarin didn't return to the lower decks. It wasn't safe anymore. Instead, they hid in a decommissioned air duct system between the archive wing and the power core. Zarin had once helped wire the ducts during an upgrade 20 years ago. He remembered every inch. They listened through a hacked frequency. Reports poured in. Civil unrest on 12 major council worlds. Protests in the core systems. Council members publicly demanding an emergency assembly. Earth's ambassador denying everything. Independent experts confirming the relay's influence was real. Alex sat silently, back pressed to the cold wall, staring at nothing. He didn't smile. He didn't cheer. The truth was out, but the galaxy was not celebrating. It was burning. You did it, Zarin said, watching the news feed through a cracked display. You actually did it. No, Alex replied. We did it. But it's not over. Zarin glanced at him. What do you mean? They won't just accept this, Alex said. The council will be torn in half. Some will want justice. Some will want to keep things the same. And Earth, he paused. Earth won't give up its power quietly. On Orion Prime's upper tower, Chancellor Drek Thelos stood before a council crisis meeting. The chamber was in chaos. Representatives from every sector shouted, argued, and threw accusations. The evidence is fake. Earth's ambassador cried. A fabrication by rogue agents. But too many eyes had seen the data. Too many specialists had already verified the signal patterns. There was no denying it anymore. Drek raised a hand. Silence slowly returned. This revelation, he said carefully, has shaken the foundation of our unity. But we must not let emotion lead us to ruin. Earth acted to maintain peace. And you let them, someone yelled from the back. Perhaps, Drek admitted. But peace was preserved. For decades, we thrived. A senator from the Vega cluster rose to her feet. You mean we obeyed? Murmurs filled the chamber. Then another voice rose. We need a vote on Earth's status. On Drek's leadership. On everything. Drek's expression hardened for the first time. A vote, now, would tear the council apart. So be it, the senator replied. Back in the ducts, Zarin's calm crackled. A vote has been called, he said. 12 hours from now. Emergency session. Alex nodded slowly. He'd done all he could. The truth was in the hands of the galaxy now. Whether they acted or turned away, he had no more control. But he wasn't finished. "I have to get off the station," Alex said. "I won't survive the vote." "You'll disappear?" Zurin asked. "I'll go underground. Keep watching. Keep digging. The council might change. Or they might rebuild the lie under a different name. Either way, someone has to keep them honest." Zurin gave him a tired smile. "You're insane? You know that?" Alex picked up his pack. "Maybe. But at least I'm free." 12 hours later, the council chamber was packed. Every delegate voted, openly, for the first time in decades. By a narrow margin, Earth's legislative privileges were suspended indefinitely. A full investigation into council leadership and the lunar relay grid was launched. Drekthalos did not speak again. He stepped down without a word. On a distant asteroid station, watching from a crowded bar filled with noise and light, Alex saw the news scroll across the screen. His name was nowhere in the reports. But he didn't need credit. He just needed the truth to live. The galaxy didn't go quiet overnight. Even after the vote, after Earth's power was stripped and the lunar relay grid was dismantled, the damage remained. Some worlds cheered. Some rioted. Others simply stared at the sky, trying to understand how they had lived for so long under a lie. On Orion Prime, council workers removed Earth's banners from the central chamber. One by one, they were folded and sealed in archive boxes. The long shadow Earth had cast across the galaxy was fading, but no one knew what would grow in the space it left behind. Alex Voss stood alone beneath a rusted sky, far from the center of power. He had left Orion Prime 2 days earlier under a false identity. His face had appeared on a few underground networks, praised by some, cursed by others. Officially, he didn't exist anymore. That was fine by him. He now lived in a remote outpost on Halen 3, a dust-covered moon with nothing but wind, rock, and silence. He watched the council broadcast through a private receiver, kept in a shielded storage unit beneath his cabin. No signal could track him here. He watched them vote. He watched them argue. He saw new members rise, louder, braver, more willing to question. He also saw old patterns trying to return, familiar words, soft promises, dangerous peace. But most of all, he watched for truth. Every day, he sorted through public files and secret leaks. He dug through council transmissions for signs of quiet manipulation, coded agreements, whispers in the dark. He had once been a forensic specialist. Now he was a watchdog. And he wasn't alone. Zurin Kallo had vanished after helping Alex escape. Rumors said he returned to the outer colonies and opened a hidden network of truth sharers, coders, analysts, former delegates, all sworn to uncover corruption wherever it hid. Alex never contacted him directly. He didn't need to. Their work spoke louder than any message. Across the galaxy, things were changing. The Galactic Council restructured its decision-making process. New security protocols were added. Voting systems were rebuilt without external signal links. Every law now passed through a transparent process visible to all member worlds. Earth protested the investigation, denied wrongdoing, claimed it was the victim of a smear campaign. But too many eyes were open now. Too many people remembered what it felt like to not know they were being led. Earth was still a member of the council, but it was no longer the quiet master behind the curtain. One morning, Alex stepped outside his cabin. The sky above was painted with swirling orange clouds, lit from beneath by the rising twin suns of Halen 3. He stood there, hands in his coat pockets, staring up at the sky. A message pinged on his receiver. No name. No sender. Just a short line of text. "More are waking up. Stay ready." Alex smiled faintly. Then he powered down the receiver and walked into the wind, letting the silence of the desert wrap around him. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't looking for recognition. He had seen what power could do in the dark. And now, he would make sure the light stayed on.